All right, let's talk about something you've probably seen a million times in today's global workplaces. You're in a meeting and you notice who's talking and who isn't. It's a funny thing because it's not always about who has the best ideas, right? Turns out there's this whole set of invisible rules that decide who gets heard. And today we're going to drag those rules out into the light.
So let's kick things off with a classic workplace puzzle. We're going to call it the silent meeting mystery. I mean, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? You're in this big international meeting, brilliant people from everywhere, the ideas are just buzzing. But then you notice some of your sharpest colleagues, people you know are total experts, are completely silent. They're just not saying a word. And it's not because they have nothing to add. So what is really going on here? Well, listen to this. This quote comes directly from a manager in a research study. And wow, it just hits you, doesn't it? It perfectly captures that paralyzing fear. The fear of being judged not for what you're saying, but for your grammar or your accent. This is the real human cost of that silence we see in our meetings. It's a huge deal. So you might think the reason for this silence is obvious, right? It's just about language skills. But it's not. The real reason is something way deeper, something that's almost always invisible. It's this fascinating concept called language ideologies. Okay, so what on earth are language ideologies? Think of them like this. They're the unwritten rule book for language that we all carry around in our heads. And this isn't about grammar rules from a textbook. No, this is about power. These beliefs dictate what sounds proper or professional, and that, my friends, ultimately decides who feels like they can even open their mouth to speak. So here's how it works. It's basically a two-step process. First, without even realizing it, we soak up all these hidden beliefs from our culture about how language should be used, what sounds right. And then step two, these beliefs create these unspoken rules that can either give someone the green light to participate or make them feel like they should just keep quiet. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. These beliefs aren't all created equal. The study we're diving into today pinpointed 4 main ones, and they fall into 2 camps with 2 very different outcomes. Some of them block people from speaking, and others, well, they actually enable them. Okay, so let's look at the ones that block participation first. You've got the standard language ideology. This is that pesky belief that there's only one correct way to speak, the perfect version. Then you have the one nation, one language idea, which is super territorial. But on the flip side, you have the enablers. You've got societal multilingualism, which is awesome. It sees having many languages as a resource. And then there's hybridity and fluidity, which basically says, hey, mixing languages to get your point across, that's not just okay, it's creative and valid. And if you want a really stark example of that standard language belief in action, just listen to this quote. It's pretty shocking, actually. You have office workers literally playing hot potato with a phone call. You get it, no, you get it. All because the person on the other end has an accent they're not used to. Think about that. They're not focused on the message at all, just on the struggle. And just like that, a voice is silenced and participation is denied. And here's a great example of that one nation, one language idea. So a company tries to be helpful, right? They add a French message to their answering machine for their French clients. Makes sense. But some of the English-speaking clients, they really didn't like it. Hearing another language in what they saw as their space just felt wrong to them. It really shows you how territorial these language beliefs can get. All right, so those are the blockers, the invisible rules that shut people down. It's kind of depressing, right? But what happens when that unwritten rule book is totally different? What if the rules actually encourage people to speak? Now, this is a total breath of fresh air. This quote from an employee in Switzerland just nails the power of societal multilingualism. The key word here isn't perfection, it's patience. In an environment like this, that constant pressure to be flawless just melts away. And suddenly everyone feels encouraged to participate because what's valued is getting your idea across, not saying it perfectly. I love this one. This is a perfect example of hybridity in action. So you've got this employee in an English meeting and they can't find the exact right word. Instead of just giving up and staying quiet, what do? They dip into their entire linguistic toolkit and pull out a few words in French. And the amazing part is, it's not seen as a failure. It's seen as a success, a successful act of communication. How cool is that? Okay, so now we know about the 4 big ideologies. We've got the blockers and the enablers. So let's see how this all plays out in the real world. The study actually compared 3 different countries, the UK, Finland, and Switzerland.
to see which of these invisible rules were running the show in each place. And boom, this table just lays it all out for us. It's super clear. You look at the UK and you see those blocking ideologies are dominant. The result? A low tolerance for anything that's not standard English. Then you've got Finland, which is kind of a mixed bag. People are using English, but that fear of being imperfect is still there, so some people stay quiet. But then you get to Switzerland. Here, the enabling ideologies like multilingualism and hybridity are in charge. And what happens? You get a much higher tolerance for mistakes and language mixing, which opens the door for way more people to participate.
Right, so we've established that different places have different invisible rules. But so what? Why does this actually matter for you and me in our day-to-day work? Let's get right to the bottom line. Listen, this is the key takeaway. This stuff isn't about being a good or bad language learner. Not at all. It is 100% about power. These invisible rules literally decide who gets to speak up and who gets to influence decisions. And when those blocking ideologies are in charge, man, you lose out. You lose talent. Brilliant ideas get shut down before they're even spoken, and knowledge just gets trapped. But, and this is the hopeful part, when the enabling ideologies win, you create teams that are more creative, more inclusive, and flat out more effective. It's a total game changer.
So you're probably thinking, okay, what can I actually do about this? Well, it starts with a few simple things. First, let's all agree to question the need for perfect English. Let's focus on clear communication instead. Did you understand the idea? Awesome. That's the win. Second, let's actually encourage people to use their entire linguistic toolbox. If a word in another language is the best way to say something, let's celebrate that. And finally, and this is probably the most powerful step of all, you have to make the invisible visible. Actually talk about these unwritten rules with your team. Ask the question, what are our rules here? And are they helping us or are they holding us back?
And that really is the crucial point, isn't it? I want to leave you with this question. The very next time you're in a meeting, I want you to look around and really think, what are the invisible language rules at play in this room right now? Are our unwritten rules creating a space where everyone feels they can contribute? Or are they forcing brilliant people to just shut up? The answer to that question could literally change everything for your team.